Hello guys, um, this is a grade 11 information technology class. Let me check how many students we have. We still have one. Okay. Okay, if you have any questions on the students side, you can feel free to ask me on the chat box. I will answer. So today's topic is database management. We are going to be looking at types of databases. Actually, we are going to be categorizing the database, whether it is a local database or a cloud, a cloud-based database. So on the previous lesson, we were talking about databases, the different types of softwares that we use to run databases. And we mentioned Microsoft Access, MySQL, Microsoft SQL Server, all those softwares. And then what we based mostly on is Microsoft Access, the one that we're going to be using on our classroom. So mostly we use Microsoft Access because it can connect to everything, and that's the software that we have that we can be able to use. So Microsoft Access, towards the end of this topic, we're going to be dealing mostly with Microsoft Office. We have to open it and deal straight with it directly, learn how to create a database on Microsoft Access, and learn how to manipulate a database, and learn how to do a lot of things in Microsoft, how to connect it to Delphi, how to use SQL to manipulate a Microsoft database. That's what we're going to do. So here, today's topic will be based on categorizing the databases. So DBMS means database management softwares. They are divided into two categories. The categories are desktop management softwares that we have. Firstly, okay, the one that I have just talked about is Microsoft Access. Microsoft Access is based on the desktop. We're saying it's a desktop-based database because it is only used on desktop. You can design it on the desktop, manipulate it on the desktop, connect it to other softwares like we are doing in Delphi. We're going to connect it with Delphi, use Delphi to manipulate it, but still we're going to be doing all of that in the desktop. It can be connected to Visual Basics, people who are using Visual Basics for programming. It can be connected to Java, people who are using to Java. It can be connected to a lot of databases. And the reason why we use Microsoft Access too much is because it is easy to use compared to the other desktops. And we use it on local desktop. So Microsoft Access is part of the it's part of the Microsoft Office package. So these are other examples: FileMaker, Pro, and Base. And then now let's look at server DBMs, database management softwares. Okay, example here, we've got Blackfish, we've got Microsoft SQL Server, we've got MySQL, we've got Oracle, we've got PostgreSQL. So these databases are going to be used in the server, in the cloud, mostly. So this one, the difference here, this one, you use it on your local computer. A software of Microsoft Office, for example, has to be installed in your computer. in order for you to be able to use it. And then this one, you can use it in the cloud, which means it is an online, you can use it using online applications. And online applications will need you to have internet access. You can use it in any computer, like every other online application. You can use it in any computer, regardless of the location of where you are. If your computer is damaged, you can go to the maybe internet cave and use it there. So that is the difference between the two. So I'm going to be going in details with it here. So we're going to start with the desktop database management. A desktop database management is normally for single users and is installed on a single personal computer, PC. So once you get the Microsoft Office pack software, you can install it on a single computer. It is so you are the only person who can access it on a computer. This desktop database programs can, however, support up to 10 multi-users if required. So here, when I say 10 multi-users, if just like, for example, a school computer, it doesn't mean that the people who can log in on the computer can be 10. It can be hundreds, it can be thousands. But to use the same database that is already created can allow up to 10. This is a single application, which means that all the tools to work with the database is included in one software program. So everything that you need there should be installed on that computer. So if just like, for example, there are different packages of Microsoft Office and they all have different features, they keep on upgrading. So what you have, if you have Microsoft 2010, then that database you have is that's what you have. You cannot have what the others of 2016 were using Office 2016 have. You only have what you have on that package of the software that you have installed, that you are using to access the Microsoft Access database. Okay, right now we're going to look at server DBMs. Okay, server DBMs, as we have said, they are based on the cloud, which means they are online applications. They are based on servers. They are stored in servers. So when you go and interact with this database, it means you are a user or you are a client. So we know that if we have a server, we must also have a client. Sometimes, okay, the other name of a client, we can say it's a user. So only the person who created this database can deal with it directly, even though it is can work with it directly, even though it is allowed for maybe thousands or 10,000s of users. But when you go there, you are a user or you are a client, and you have limited things that you can do. As the name indicates, this program will run on a server and will not be accessed by any user directly. So only the person who created this database and stored it there in the server can interact with it directly. As a client or as a user, you cannot interact with it directly. An example of this I can say is let me say an online shop. An online shop, when you go to Amazon, or when you go to Take a Lot, or when you go to Wish, there is a part there where you need to search what you want. There will be categories there. Maybe you are looking to buy clothing, you are looking for electronics, you are looking for all those things are stored in an online database server. So what is good about this, it is always up to date, and also it is already queried. When I'm saying it is already queried, they've looked at the possible things that you may want. So maybe let me say you choose the category for clothing. That is what you want to shop. And then what else? The other thing that will be there, which clothes are you looking for? Maybe men clothes or women clothes. And then you can choose you are looking for women clothes, okay, or men clothes. That is still part of the query. From which age to which age or what size are you looking for? This is the size we are looking for. And then which clothing brand are you basically looking for? You pick up the clothing brand, or maybe let me say the price range. Which price range are you looking? How much? So maybe you've checked your budget and then you decided I'm planning to spend this much, and then it will show you that category. So these servers are already queried, so you can just go there and do anything that you want with them. Unlike the desktop server, the desktop based database, you yourself as a person, you will have to query it. And that is why we are doing Delphi, we're connecting databases to Delphi. The main point of it is to manipulate the database to do what we want it to do. The way this database will access is via the application software package. So you can access this database via the application, just like, for example, if you want to check for things that they are selling in Amazon, indirectly, so you are interacting with the database of Amazon. It will show you all the things that are stored there on their database. Or maybe in Take a Lot, you are interacting with the database indirectly, so, and you cannot do much changes. All you can do is what a user can do. You cannot change how they sort things. Yes, for yourself, you can change what you want and how do you want it. That's all you can do, but not to update or modify. No, you cannot do that. The software that will access the database and the server DBMs can run on different computers from different locations. So because this is online, you can go to any computer and access this database as long as you have an internet connection. A lot of people can access the same data and try to execute statements that are in conflict with each other. That is why server DBMs is so much more robust than the desktop part. Here, what you are going to do, you are going to interact with, as like I have said, is the queries that have already been done there. If they have categorized things according to size, according to size or according to their name, or those databases are already done. So what they execute is the code that has been written there already. You cannot do your own code. Okay, just a minute. Okay, let me just say admit. Okay, let me go to the next one. Okay, I want to go to the next slide. Okay, my computer seems to be a bit slower here. What is, okay, there we go. Okay, so we're still on the server DBMs database management software. The access of this data on the server DBMS will be again via instructions from the client software. So what they basically mean here, the instructions that we'll be using, it will be on your client software. So there are different instructions here. There will be the ones on the server software and the ones on the client software. So the ones on the client software is the ones that you can be able to see. Maybe like I will continue making examples with online shopping. Maybe when you go to, when you're looking for something, so the only thing, the instructions that you can see there, you can either sort. Remember the things that we can do on a database. Let me just talk basically about a desktop-based database. There maybe when we go to the exam, which is always there on question 2 for information technology, it is always going to be database. And you will be asked to either use the SQL and the Delphi language to manipulate a database. You can either sort, you can either filter, you can locate, you can insert, you can update or edit, you can delete a record, you can use loops to manipulate the database. So, but then here you cannot. You are going to use the things that are already have been done for you. Those are the instructions that will be given to you. These instructions are in the form of SQL statements that will inform the database what needs to happen. So even here on these databases, SQL will be still there. Actually, SQL is the language that is more powerful for manipulating databases. That's why even in Delphi, but each and every language is going to use SQL in a different way based on that particular language. If you are using Delphi language to program, then your SQL will be based on Delphi. If you are using Java, your SQL will be based on Java. So the SQL instructions is what you are going to be using. They are already given to you, and you as a client or as a user, you only use them to get what you want, not that you are going to create them. The server will attempt to execute the SQL statement and, if possible, send back the results or an error message if the statement could not be executed. Okay, this is part of error analysis as well. So if it cannot be executed, then you will see by an error message. All right. So now we're going to come to distributed databases. So these databases are databases that are from, as you can see here on this picture, I've got here a lot of databases. This, it doesn't come from one server. It will be distributed from different servers, and it will give the same information, even if it will give the same information, but it is still from different servers. So what happens here is that it may be on the same network, or either, and it can also happen that it is not from the same network. Like we can see here, this is just, this is a computer network, and these are the databases. This is database 1, database 2, database 3 within one network. but it can happen that this information is not distributed in the same network. Okay, let me just go here. This is when the data from the database is spread over several servers in different locations. So just like we can see here, maybe let's say our database, maybe one database is in Johannesburg, the other one is in Durban, the other one is wherever, but within the same network. So these are distributed databases. Let me say, for example, maybe which example that is good that I can use here? Maybe let me say, just like Facebook now has it has a marketplace, or maybe yes, it has a marketplace. This can be one other example of it distributing the information. This is done in such a manner that the user of the database do not even realize that the data is being distributed over several servers. Okay, the way they do it, they make sure that the users are not able to see that the database are distributed over different several servers. Then user do not even realize that their servers might not even be in the same location. And this is another thing that you are not going to realize, that your servers are not in the same location. So we are going to look at why should we use distributed database management softwares. So distributed database is being used in the following instances. As soon as the number of clients continue to the connecting to the database are very large, the network traffic will be high, thus slowing down data transfer. So if there are a lot, let me make an example like a router. When you connect to a Wi-Fi, if there are a lot of devices that are connected there, and most of the people, let me say maybe in class, everyone is connected to the internet on their computer, and the teacher is not there. Everyone is using YouTube and all the other things. They are searching heavy things, downloading, uploading of files. Obviously, that router that gives the signals or the hotspot to the users, it will slow down because it is having too much traffic now. Everybody's doing their thing. The network doesn't have that much power anymore. It doesn't have that power anymore. It will just become slow. So this is one of the reason why they use distributed servers, because if a lot of people connect to one server, then it will slow down. That is the reason why. Just like, for example, when you look at social networking sites, Twitters, those things cannot use one server because this thing is used by the whole world. It is used by the whole world, so it cannot use one server. Just imagine, like, if, for example, these cars, like, for example, we know that maybe, let me say, example for Mercedes-Benz, it is created in Germany, but if when you want to buy it, you will have to buy it straight to Germany. Just imagine how slow it was for you, how slow it was going to be for you to be able to get that Mercedes-Benz. But then they decided to do what? To distribute the garages all over the world, so that it can be fast. You are here in South Africa, you can quickly go there and buy your car and come with it back if you got your money cash. So that is one of the main reasons. Working with sensitive data that you cannot afford to lose if the one server breaks down. So here is another reason. So this is like another example of data backing up. So if one server breaks down, there are some companies that are carrying sensitive information that they cannot be able to lose. Let's say if a bank is using one server and then it happens that the server crashes. Imagine the bank is having people who are paying loans. It's having people's phone numbers who have big money there in the banks. It will just be a mess if that one server breaks down, because some people will never pay their loans anymore. People will go there looking for their money, and if they know that what happened, they will be claiming big amounts of money. So that is one of the reasons, and it is a very good reason. Synchronizing data is very important to make sure that the data of the different servers are always up to date. So another reason is to keep information up to date. This is accomplished via duplication, having a second fully updated database, which takes up a lot of space, and partitioning each site, manage and uploading the changes. When it comes to this point, it is important maybe because if you have too much data, just like when it comes to a computer, each and every computer needs partitioning. There should be parts. You have to remember we've got two different types of softwares. We've got system software, and then we've got an application software. And when you partition, you are separating the two. So imagine if you've got too much data and then you need to partition it and all of those things, you cannot put it on the same place. So a distributed DBM do that. Very large databases make use of hybrids. You can read up on this. Okay. Just leave this one. Different careers in database. Database analyst do not do the changes to the structure of the database, look at the design activities, and look at the efficiency of the database. So this is one of the jobs that you can do if you want to work with databases. Can be a database analyst, whereby you are going to be dealing with the design, the structure of the database, and the activities that needs to be done on the database. Database administrator. Database administrator is just like an admin clerk, because that person right there is dealing with the database that is already there, manages and maintain the database, also control the user of the database. So an example of this one can be an admin clerk. Database programmers. Database programmers, the topic that we have been doing previously, but I'm still going to go back into it. Since we have started this, I'm still going to go back into it and do a few lessons so that we can relate it to this. Database programmers is what we have been doing previously on the previous lessons from that other week, whereby you will have to connect your data, connect your database to the Delphi software, then manipulate your database with the Delphi software, and you still have to go further to inserting SQL code to be able to manipulate our database. They code the user interface that will be used to access the database in the database. So what you do here, you are going to create just like what we're doing. After, we're going to have a data module that will access the data, and then we are going to have a form. The form is where we are going to create the interface whereby a user will use to access the database, the Microsoft Office database. Project managers oversees projects in database development. Okay, so that was our lesson for today, and what I want you to do to be able to test your knowledge and to be able to test yourself if you have really understood what was going on in databases, you can just go here in this classwork and answer these questions. And then after answering these questions, you can send them to me via email. I will mark them and give a feedback. So that was it for today, guys. So let me just show you the email address that after writing that classwork, you can just email it to me, tumtovisakolo@gmail.com. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. I will see you on the next lesson. Bye.